Welcome to Conversations with the Commissioner. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your commissioner, Delonte Smith. I know there might be some people that are watching this that are like, I don't know what job the commissioner's doing out there, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm still holding the position and I'm still excited to be talking to all of these team owners. And today is no different. Today I get to sit down with not a champion, not a SLC member, but somebody who is definitely making his name in the league. We're sitting down with Too Legit to Quit team owner Stephen Jones. And before we do any more introductions, let's bring him in. Stephen, how are you, sir? How's life? Let's bring you to the stage. There we go, sir. Having a little technical difficulties. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I got to ask you a question first. Are you the commissioner?
Stephen, I am the commissioner. I am. This is Conversations with the Commissioner. I am the commissioner, Delonte Smith. I'm up for election. This at the end of this season. So we'll see next season if there's someone else sitting in this seat. But for right now, I am your commissioner.
Okay. I wanted to be clear. There's a lot of noise going on about some stuff. I get on that chat that y'all like to get on and, all that business. And all I hear is these questions about, your status as commissioner, should you be commissioner, et cetera, et cetera. So I just want to be clear.
There are some people, and we won't go into names because this is your conversation, sir. But there are some people that are challenging my integrity within this league. And in 2025, sir, I won't stand for it.
Ooh, okay.
What we've done and where we've gotten to, with conversations and all this great stuff, how dare they is what I will say to that. And I'll leave it at that. How dare they, Stephen?
Ooh, shots fired.
And we're gonna shoot some more at the end of this season. Okay. We'll do a sit down with just the commissioner. There was a big win for the league with Janet Turner, retaining that position. And if you haven't voted, sir, I said you get out there and you vote for you give your vote to the league. But that's a whole nother thing. They don't want to hear about that. They want to hear about Too Legit to Quit, Stephen. Let's get into it, or shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So
let me interrupt you for a minute though to say for all you young kids out there who are probably wondering where this name came from, Too Legit to Quit, and what I just did right there. There used to be a time back in the 80s, the 90s, most of y'all probably weren't even born then, when a dude named MC Hammer represented with Too Legit to Quit. You could talk to Deion Sanders, you could talk to ATL, all that other stuff. So that's where the name comes from. Just to preemptively let y'all know, because, most of y'all were in diapers when that song was out.
I probably wasn't in diapers, but, I know the song, hammer, hammer, time, hammer, hammer, so.
Just stop it.
My apologies. Let's get to this first question, Stephen.
Okay, no, let's do it.
You've told us what inspired the name. What inspired you to join the BFBA?
What inspired me to join it? It sounded like fun. Truth be told, everybody knows I have a working relationship with you and a friendship with you as well. And you talked so much for so long about the competitive nature, all the shit talking, and just how fun it is. I've done fantasy football for years, and I used to do fantasy basketball back when we had to get our stats from the newspaper. I'm not even lying. That was back in the old days. But the way you build it made it sound fun. I thought, yeah, let's do this. Let's have some fun with it. And whoever was before me, I think, if memory serves, whoever was before me wasn't doing a very good job with the team. And so a spot opened up, and I remember you contacting me saying, hey, we got a spot. You're going to have to be passionate about this. You're going to have to want to invest. And I thought, yeah, let's do this. Let's see if I can, turn a team around, which I love to do.
We're going to get into that, and I think we're on that road. Let's give a little context of the team, right?
Yeah.
Your team started with Jose, who was shake and bake. Took him to the finals. Yeah. Took them to the finals, and then had 2 really bad seasons. Personal things got involved, and we won't go into detail. But we went 0-21 twice. And the rule in the bylaws is if we're not taking care of that team, we got to find somebody that wants to be active.
Okay.
He willingly gave up the team with obviously an opportunity to come back this season, and with Shake and Bake 2.0. But you kind of were given a you were given a not a problem child, but something that was needed some love and care, and I think we're working towards that.
Well, that makes sense then, because I was wondering. I'm playing Shake and Bake this week, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
And what's the gentleman's name?
Jose.
Jose. Well, first off, Jose, if you're watching, I want to say thank you. Thank you for Anthony Davis.
Oh,
thank you for Anthony Davis. I guess it's probably going to be bittersweet this week to see your former team, Jose, I'm speaking to you, your former team get on you like I'm doing. Hopefully I can continue to pull this out this week and all that good stuff. But, I'm happy, Jose, that you'll see at least AD, and I think he's the only one I've kept, but you'll see AD, at least your former star player, back home, as it were, on your court, whooping you. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. I think that actually, that's a really good point you're making. I mean, if we're looking at this in that perspective, it's, I'm now coaching a brand new team that I was in a sense fired from my old team, right? And now I'm back home. I'm seeing personnel. I'm seeing security. I'm seeing ushers. It's been a great homecoming, but I'm walking out of that building with an L. That's kind of a full circle. So we'll get to sit down with Jose and maybe we'll ask about that. But let's we talked a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You had a challenging first season.
Yeah.
In 2024, right? Where this is only our second season with a record of 6-15. Now we will say that team came from 0-21 2 years in a row. So to be at 6-15, definitely an upgrade. What were some of your biggest challenges, though, that you faced that year, and how did you cope with the experience?
Biggest challenges. Honestly, the biggest challenge was just getting a vibe of the league. And what I mean by that is, the roster was challenged. Okay, cool. But all of the star players, aside from AD, really had been picked through because all the other owners, you all, obviously are very savvy. So I would say all that leads to the fact that my biggest challenge was really just figuring out personalities of the owners to determine, okay, well, what kind of owners am I now, working with? Am I shoulder to shoulder with here? Because deals need to be made. And let's be honest here. There's a few owners that made no. I think they had a misconception that I was coming in not knowing basketball. So I'd get a lot of trade offers for somebody. For example, everybody wanted AD, or everybody wanted, I can't remember who else I had that was averaging something kind of decent, good 6-man numbers. But people were offering me somebody that was maybe only playing 20 minutes. 2 people, for example, that were only playing maybe 20 minutes a game for 8. And then I'd get these messages saying, well, but you should consider X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. Clearly, they were testing the waters, a little bit of hazing going on there. Cool. But I would say that was the biggest challenge, is really just getting rid of all that noise, staying focused on the fact that I know basketball, that I know my personnel, and that, I need to just figure out, okay, this one likes to talk a lot of shit over here. This owner, I know how I perhaps can manipulate them just a little bit, just so that I can get to, even to be frank, where I am now.
Understood. So really just kind of sifting through all of the nonsense
to
find out, who's really here to do business.
Yeah. And who's not trying to take advantage, right? Because let's be honest, everybody wants their team to win. everybody wants to, take some level of advantage, get the upper hand. So just discovering like who the real ones are and who the ones that, smile at you. But, as my grandmother says, just because they smile at you don't mean they're your friends.
Of course. They smile up in your face all the time. They want to take your place, right? I'm going to make mention to a comment that was said earlier in the season in one of my other conversations, only because it was public, right? There was some legal back and forth between Mr. Lucas in my mindset of fighters and the rest of the staff in the league about what was said. But a comment that he did make about your team that I want to give directly to you was exactly what you were saying, to the point of, taking you for granted, thinking that, you didn't know what was going on, and that you've actually turned out to be a great owner. So I think that kind of shows, point to what you're saying, that, there's some level of respect that you're now getting from these other owners, and maybe all of the draft picks that you are receiving are honest now, rather than just trying to pick at your team as they do with some other owners.
Yeah. And I'll say, and I will pick on Zed for a minute to give him some love and some props. I saw that and I thought, oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because he certainly was one that was testing the waters for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not mad at anybody for any of it. I'm not mad at him for it. But that was nice of him to just, at least recognize, oh, okay, he knows a little something.
Yeah, I think there are many others that are doing it in back channels that you may not be seeing out front. Come a playoff team, I think you'll start getting that respect and getting those flowers. Let's talk about this season. As we look at this season, you're currently sitting at 4-6 in ninth place. Now, let me just give a little piece of information. It's Saturday. We have a strong lead against Too Legit to Quit against Shake and Bake 2.0, which is Jose. So we're probably going to be 5-6, one game a bit below 500, right? What are your thoughts on your team's performance so far?
We're starting to figure some stuff out. I think we started off strong at the beginning of the season, which I was very happy about. And then that injury bug hit us. And I'm definitely, as a lot of owners discovered, I'm definitely an owner that when I pick a player, I want to ride with them. When I have a team, I want to ride with them. I don't like to do a lot of trades. I don't think that does well for morale. And I want to give my players a chance to actually grow into and mesh together. And so all that being said, 2 games, I think right now below 500.
Yeah. At 4-6. Yes.
Yeah. 4-6. I think, as long as nothing crazy happens at the end of this week, then I'll be 1 game under 500. If I can be a couple of games over 500 by the end of the season, I'm going to count that a huge success. If I can be at 500 by the end of the season, all right, that's showing some steady progress. So I'm good with that.
Fantastic. So, and next week, do you know who your next week opponent is?
I do. It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, I agree, but I think, catching a team that is also dealing with an injury bug, anything is possible. One could be sitting at 5-5. They could be sitting at 5-5, or, so it's a toss up, but let me congratulate you on this week. I mean, down 200 points in the weekend. I hear where you're coming from, but from experience, down 200 points and then going into the weekend. I think you got this one in the bag. I owe you a beer if I'm wrong. or a spot of tequila. How about that, right?
Or a cigar, right?
Or a cigar, or that even better, sir. Even better. I have a few array of things that are scattered around of cigar items that are here. So that's for a whole nother conversation. Look forward to that podcast as well. So Steven, we got 10 games left in the season. Okay. We've already discussed we're either looking at 5-6, 1 game below 500 come next week. What are your goals for the remaining of this year? And are there any specific adjustments that you plan to make to improve your standings?
Well, I mean, the goal is to obviously get as many wins as possible. But to do it in a way that isn't shaking up the snow globe or shaking up my team so much. I've got a core group of people that I really enjoy playing. And I don't want to lose them. I've got a few surprises in there as well. I'll pick on, for example, TJ McConnell as a really great backup point guard who's just steady Eddie for me across the board. I don't want to lose people like him. I mean, unless, of course, there's an amazing blockbuster trade out there. So I would say overall, my goal is to continue to just research the league in terms of which owners are dropping people frequently, right? Which owners have a lot of that high turnover, because if there's a lot of high turnover, in my opinion, if there's a lot of high turnover with the team, they could be ripe for some trades later on down the line. Mm-hmm. That means that they're never satisfied. They're never satisfied, and they're not going to let that team grow. And I'm not throwing shade. That's just a different style of how you structure your team and how you want to get to your goal. Do I see a championship this year? No. Okay. Hopefully I'll make the playoffs. Hopefully. I want to make some noise, and I want to get a few people's heart rates going a little bit more. Oh, I gotta play too legit to quit. I gotta make sure everything is dialed in. And if I can get to that point in year 2, just year 2, y'all, then I think I'm doing all right. Next year it's playoffs, period. No question. No question.
I see. So we want to ruffle some feathers this year. Yeah. Make a name for ourselves, but really put the pedal to the metal come 2025, 2026 season.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'm doing to help that is I made a lot of trade deals in this last off season that will kick in for this coming summer, which I foresee being a huge benefit. Huge benefit. One of the joys and one of the things I love about fantasy, one of the joys about being in this league is the fact that you're not going to turn our team around on a dime. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be instantaneous. In the NBA, a new ownership comes in, and it takes them, 3-4 years of just steady increase, throwing money at it, et cetera, to get that team to that championship level. And it starts with the culture, right? It starts with the culture of, okay, this team is tough, or this team can bring it. Maybe they don't bring it to a certain level, but they certainly bring it up a little bit more in terms of intensity, in terms of whatever that is. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm bringing up intensity and letting the league know, no, we're here. As I said last year when I was losing quite a bit and things like that, I think the phrase, I'm paraphrasing myself now to say that my phrase was, "You better get me now." That was last year. Well, some people are now discovering, it's going to be a little harder to get them now. And that's raising that blood pressure up a little bit. That's raising the intensity. So it's a culture shift.
Yeah, there's a definite difference with your team. I mean, we talked 2024, your first season. We ended at 6-15. Mm-hmm. We just discussed winning this week puts you at 5-6. Okay, so we are one game below what we've done the previous year, and we are, as I just said, 10 games left in the season. Yeah. So there's probably some games that you're still going to be able to pull out. So we win 2 more games.
No. Don't say pull out now. This is a culture shift. Pull out. Let's pull out now.
I see.
Indicates that I'm an underdog. No, not anymore. Yes. That's part of the culture shift. I talk about it in the locker room. I talk about it with everybody. No, we're not underdogs. We coming in there as the big dogs.
I see. Well, my apologies, sir, for misstating or misspeaking about too legit to quit, because I mean, there's I preach the same jargon as I would say in my locker room is, we are the gods. So I get it, and I will say there's some teams that definitely are feeling that wrath. There isn't they may win. It's, they're gonna win.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's so. After only 2 seasons, right? We said we've only been in here for two years. After 2 seasons in the BFBA, How has your perspective on the league changed? You spoke on it a little. And how or what have you learned about the competition and camaraderie within the association?
Well, I'll start with the second half of it, which is I'm going to give the owners their flowers, as you young kids like to say. I'm going to give you all your flowers. I came into this league actually, and I think I even mentioned this to you. I will humbly say that I understand the strategies of basketball as Stephen Jones. I will humbly say that I have a history with the game that goes beyond just playing high school basketball. I'll just put it that way. And so when I came into this league, I'm an old head. I'm that old get off my lawn guy. I am. And I thought, these young puppies don't know basketball. They don't know. Here's where I'm gonna give everybody their flowers. Y'all know some stuff. And so that my perspective on the league has changed because I came into it thinking, oh, I'm going to fleece these people, like sitting down at the poker table, right? Pretending like you don't know, and then you take everybody's chips. Oh, no, y'all came to play. And so I'm going to give you your respect on that. And that's what makes it fun, to be honest with you. Because if I had come into a league where, I was just fleecing everybody, it gets pretty boring after a while, right? But I'm, this morning getting up, looking at my league, counting out this, looking at percentages, et cetera, because I know that all the other league owners are doing the same thing. And so, again, I give you all your flowers, young puppies.
Yeah, well, I'm going to accept them on behalf of the league because we're having this conversation. But I think that is the one thing that new league owners come into this thinking that, we are just like every other fantasy league.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be this and that. Now there's entertainment. We're pushing this season. We've been doing this for 11 seasons now. We're pushing the entertainment side of this, right? We want to really have the enjoyment, but it took me 9 seasons to win a championship, and I'm the commissioner.
Okay, but I got to ask you a question on this, though. Okay, so we talked about the entertainment factor.
Mm-hmm.
Is the entertainment factor, as part of that factor, this group chat thing?
Yeah, I think at this point, it's involved to that.
Go ahead.
It started, the WhatsApp started as just as the continuous just chat, right? But we have the league, I will say, has reached a level of expertise with the production side of things that we're testing the waters. We're kind of seeing where and how far you can push this. What it turns into, nobody knows, right? But I think that we're testing them levels of a daytime drama, right? We
Yeah, y'all, and it's cool, it's fun. So I'm in a few other leagues, football leagues. This is the only fantasy basketball league that I'm doing, and one of my fantasy football leagues is a big national one, huge. I mean, they go all out and things like that. Well, let me rephrase that. I thought they went all out. And this is a credit to you. This is a credit to, everything that you're doing, as well as all the other owners and things. With this podcast or this video, podcast that's going on, with the jackets, with the group chat, with all those other things, this is pure entertainment.
Yeah.
In its best form. I mean, this to me is what a fantasy structure needs to look like. As a matter of fact, when I got the jacket, I took a picture of it and I sent it to my football commissioner back in North Carolina. And I said, I told him, I said, hey, man, we need to step up our game. Here's my point. My dues for the fantasy football are higher than what we're paying and things, and we're not getting as much. And it's not even just getting stuff, but it's like we're not getting as much of the entertainment factor. You know what I mean? So I gotta say, this is probably top 2 best leagues that I've been in my time doing fantasy, and I've been doing fantasy again way back since the newspaper. So it's cool. It's cool. And oh my God, the shit talking that y'all do. The shit. It's not WhatsApp. What is it? Is it WhatsApp now? I had to download WhatsApp just to
it's WhatsApp
to get on there. And the back and forth that y'all do is hilarious. I try and throw something in there just to be funny. I don't know if everybody gets. Well, I haven't met everybody, but I don't know if people understand my sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
But there have been a few things that I've thrown out there that I go, just my personality and things like that, being sarcastic and whatever, that I go, ooh, that didn't land so well. Man, I got to meet these fools. Because then they'll get it, then I'll get it. And there's so much shit that I want to talk, but I don't know everybody yet. So, I don't want to piss somebody off too bad just yet.
Yeah, it's my hope is that through these conversations, this just gives a small window into, the personalities that we all have and who we are, that it opens up some of those doors a little bit more. Just quick to another point that you said, I want to thank you, and I am open. This is to all owners. This is to everybody within this league. I want to grow this thing nationally, right? Like I want to be able to take this so that others can view and join. I think it gives a little bit more fire under your ass when you got a random, in a sense, coming in and like winning a championship before you've done it, and you've been in here for 4 or 5 seasons. So I've heard that from a lot of other owners, and I want to thank everybody, because without you all, this league doesn't get to where we are. I'm going to lean on that needle a little bit more of trying to, push it to get us there. But I really quick, go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
I just want to say that, there's a level of professionalism, one, that we all carry about this league and with this league. And then there's also a level of competition that, the WhatsApp has, as I said before, it's turned into, a highway of just like, information and shit talk and, just legal battles and, just everything that like, let's bottle it, let's narrow it down and, really drive it to people who want it.
So I got to stir the pot just a little bit to say, you as you are what's your role in the league?
I am the commissioner. I am the BFBA Commissioner. Delonte Smith. And this is Conversations with the Commissioner, with our today's guest, Stephen Jones.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure. As you were talking, I was listening, but also I had to get on my phone, which you probably can't see here, to see there are 554 chats. This is entertainment, but man, y'all, this is like a full-time job.
Yes. Yeah.
Y'all talk a lot of mess, and I'm like, God dang. So somebody is going to have to show me how to scroll on this thing so that I can get all the way to the last chat, or how does it like?
So on the right-hand side, if you're looking at your phone, there's an arrow. You can push the arrow to take you all the way down to the bottom.
Look at that.
I will say
ats too. Oh, and so there's a little @ button there, and it says 7. So that means somebody added me.
They added you 7 times. Yes. So then you can find out where and how many times, you can step right in and grab yours,
Well, look at that. I just learned Conversations with the Commissioner. I just learned something.
You know what I'm saying? The mail is getting delivered right to you on the WhatsApp, people. It's right there to you. There's a vote for you. You've been tagged for your flyer for Conversations with the Commissioner. All these things, we're giving the tools to the league to allow them to promote as well. The thing I will say is that the league, some of us, may not be choosing to promote, but we're choosing to, put down, but we won't get into that.
But that's when it's fun, though.
It is. It makes it fun. It makes it great. But when we are doing dirty deals, when we are taking advantage of other team owners for the betterment of your team, with handshakes and with agreements that are not being met, I think that's where it needs to stop in the league, Stephen.
But okay, so here's my question to this. We have to have rules, and I'm not taking sides on this. I'm just asking.
Understood. We have bylaws, but
bylaws and things like that. Okay, cool. But isn't it up to each league owner to have that wherewithal to, or that consciousness to not be taken advantage of, or to, because we got some sharks out there that will take advantage.
We do, and you are correct. But it is not my position to really speak on this. This is of the senior league committee, because they are voting for the vetoes, or if we're going to override a deal, or if we're going to let a deal go through. Sometimes when you have a pasture of lambs, or you have lambs that are grazing in a pasture, and a wolf sees one, is it not the responsibility of other lamb to save the innocent?
Okay, but where does that stop, though? Because now all of a sudden, and again, these are just questions that I would throw out there, right? Some would call it Darwinism. Not saying I believe in that, but some would call it Darwinism, right? Survival of the fittest.
Yes.
Maybe that lamb needed to be eaten.
I think for the first time in conversations with the commissioner, you've stumped me, sir. Because you're absolutely correct. We did it earlier in the season where we had to. We didn't necessarily override a deal that was done by the DC Hustlers, because we said that the SLC can't be a savior to every team. So you bring up a really good point. I do think, though, that, one, there has to be a level of non-bias by the committee when we're vetoing trades, because when we get later into, January, February, where we are right now, a lot of deals previously were kicked out because of where the team doing the deal was in the positioning of the playoff standings. We've implemented rules that changes that, lets things go through. You're paying for your deals, $20 a deal. But what we're still noticing, or what we're still seeing, is that, excuse me, so sorry. You rub up to an owner, you bump shoulders with the right guy or lady. You share a cigar or a drink of tequila. Next thing you know, we're doing a deal at 3:30 in the morning.
What's wrong with that? Here's my question. What's wrong with that? So this, okay. So I'm going to pick on Ced, because I like Ced.
Yes.
You cracks me up. Ced, I got you, brother. You crack me up. I want to get your ass on the basketball court, even with my old ass knees, but that's another story. But I don't know Ced other than just the little chats and things like that, right? If Ced and I sat down and had a cigar, hung out, and all of a sudden a deal happens, isn't that promoting a level of camaraderie amongst the owners? In building community in that way? You know what I mean? Now, I hear what you're saying, right? There's this element of backdoor dealing and things like that. And if you suggest a deal, if you and I make a deal, if I make a deal with Ced, let's say, over a cigar, and then I back out of that deal, that's a different story, right?
Correct. That is a different story. Now, let me also bring a bit of information, or let me tell a tale. And I'll also use Cedric. This is all information that has been given on conversations with the commissioner. And during his interview, there was a 3-way deal that was supposed to go down between myself, the Brooklyn Stoop Kids, and the New York Mindset of Fighters, NY Mindset of Fighters. The stipulation of the deal, and it's all out here now, is that, the Sham Gods and NY Mindsetters had to do their deal first. And that after that deal would be done, that the Sham Gods, would then go all in to help them get a deal done with the Brooklyn Stoop Kids. Couldn't say that it was going to get done, but I would be here to help, correct? My deal was then pulled off the table because there wasn't trust in the deal, but then I was told to be, I was only looking out for myself. I'm looked at, and this is just personal, right? We're just talking personal. This is between you and me. The Sham Gods is looked at as, the commissioner's just in it for himself. He's just doing a dirty deal. But we can turn around and we can go to another owner and we can feed them information that might not be true about another team being interested in an owner or in a team or in a player on your team to get a deal done. So you're absolutely correct. I think I want to encourage the camaraderie. I want to encourage you all sitting down and having conversations with each other. But I want to change the tactic that it isn't I'm going to do a deal with you because I got Trader Danny on the line, and Trader Danny's only going to do this deal with me if I get this one done with you.
Right.
You know, like
I get
let's
you.
all come to the table. Or let's be honest, as I was, in a sense of I'm going to help you out. Quid pro quo this thing, right? And some people may think it's a bad thing, but I'm going to encourage it. I'm going to help you get a deal done if we take care of my deal first.
All right, I see that.
Move forward with, open and honesty.
Yeah, no, it was okay. Now, see, I get that. And that makes a lot of sense. I was not aware of, like I said, there's way too many text chain things for me to have to go through every one of them things.
I try to
all the background, but that's a lot. That's not legit. It needs to quit. Oh, you see what I did right there? Anyway.
That's not legit. That needs to quit. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Jones of Too Legit to Quit, the team owner. I want to campaign for this man to be our committee member of next season or 2 seasons from now if we're looking to change Mr. Lucas' position.
Wait, what's he doing?
We're not going to get into that. We're gonna leave that for another time. Stephen, this has been great. Okay. This has been great, and we've spoken so much. I don't even know if I've asked you this question yet, so I'm going to throw it up here. And if I have, you tell me, "Hey man, get that out of here," okay? But I want to know, where are you on the road to a BFBA championship?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. I'm not there yet. If I was a politician, I would say that I've got a 5-year plan.
Okay.
By year 5, I'm gonna have 2.
Oh, are we counting the 2 seasons we've already been in the league?
No, we're counting starting this season, which is really, I would start this as year 1.
So 2024, 2025 campaign.
Mm-hmm.
We're saying we got a 5-year plan, people, and in that 5 years,
I'm gonna get 2.
We're getting 2.
I'm getting 2.
So by 2030, we got 2 championships. We're sitting up there with Brooklyn Stoop Kids, Evil Empire, NY Mindset of Fighters. Mm-hmm. Those are the only 3 that got 2 championships so far.
Yeah. Now, when the first one comes, it's not coming this year, and it's not coming next year. I guarantee you, it's not coming.
So we're thinking 27. At that point, we're 3 years away. So we're either doing a back-to-back or we're doing a one-off, one-on type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, and you just asking what my plan is. I know that's bold. Anybody that's watching right now, all y'all are probably going, "Oh, this fool doesn't know what he's talking about," et cetera, et cetera. Okay, you better get me now. Because if you look at my structure, took the team that was had not gotten a win, right? I get the team. Move us to 4 wins, right?
Yeah. 4 and no, we were 6 and 15.
6 wins. 6 wins, right?
6 wins, and then now we're sitting at 4 this season.
And I'm sitting at 4 this season with 10 games to go. How many more games I'm going to get? I'm not going to throw that out there just yet. I'm not going to throw that gauntlet down yet. But I think I'm pretty confident that I'm going to make some noise. I'm going to put it that way. Over 500, no question. I'll be threatening the playoffs. Let's put it that way. But my point being, what you're going to see and what you are seeing is I'm like the Jeffersons. Okay. I throw out a lot of pop culture references that, some people don't even get, right? I'm moving on.
Some of us do.
Now I'm here. We're seeing climb. Once I get into the playoffs, to be honest with you, once I get into the playoffs, you got to be afraid. You got to be afraid.
To quote the great Kevin Garnett, anything is possible.
Anything's possible. So that's where I see myself going in. I've got a 5-year plan, and if I don't make it, well, we'll cross that bridge. But I tend to not think in the negative. So
hey, you know what, Stephen? Fish don't fry in the kitchen, and beans don't burn on the grill. Who's been your biggest competitor within the BFBA?
Injury.
Oh, Oh, that's a good answer. I've
Period.
never gotten that one. That's a good one.
Period. I was looking at it, and I can look back to even last week's my last week's matchup, who I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but I lost it. And as a matter of fact, you can look at the last. I'm on a 2-game losing streak at the moment, but that week and the week before that, I had key people that were out at the last minute. All of a sudden, so and so's out for this amount of time. So and so's out for that amount of time. I've got the firepower, but I told myself that I'm not going to get on this soapbox, so I'm trying not to here. But I've got a problem with the players in the league these days. I got a problem with the players in the league. I'm gonna get on the soapbox. I'm gonna put half a foot on the soapbox to say, in the 80s, in the 90s, even in the early 2000s, players were just tougher. They were just tougher. They played through injury. I've never, ever seen so many players taking load management, sitting out for X, Y, and Z just for no reason. Next day, they're back. There's no consistency. And so one of the challenges, this is why I say my biggest competitor is injury, because you never know who's showing up. And that's just such a foreign concept to me. If I have all my players there and they all decide to show up for consistently for the entirety of the week, I'm good. I'm good. Come get me.
So to recap, you played South Korea Soul Brothers, Felton Kitchen last week. And you kind of are correct. You only lost by 38 points.
38 points. And yeah.
So
and the week before that, I'm trying to think of who it was that the week before that was Randy with BFBA Mob.
BFBA Mob, yeah.
Yeah. Now that was a bigger ass whipping, but but you can go back to see, since we're here, right? We can go back to see. I had people like Barrett out, who's a bucket for me. I had Keegan Murray, who was out, who was starting to grow into his role. I had several players that just were consistently out. If you look back at all my losses versus my wins, you'll see that I had some key people out, and most of them weren't Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a healthy too legit to quit is a team that I think is going to resemble what you were doing in the beginning of the season. Yeah. I think we were on a 3-game winning streak before, we kind of hit that injury bug. We've lost 2 here, lost 1 there, puts us at 4-6, but we still got 10 games.
Yeah.
We still got 10 games.
We got 10 games, but unfortunately, because these players in the NBA are so soft, yes, I said it, soft. 10 games. Am I worried about my goal and getting there? No, not too much, but it's going to be a fight, because the deeper we go into the season, if you think about the NBA, the deeper we go into the season, fatigue starts to hit, right?
Yeah.
And as we get closer to the NBA playoffs, certain teams that have already locked it up, or they can coast a little bit more. So we're going to see a little bit more of that resting of certain key players, superstars, or they're only going to get, if they're normally having a workload that's this many minutes, 35 minutes, 30 minutes, 32 minutes, it's going to be reduced so that they can build up to the playoffs. That kills us. Us.
Yeah, and you have to take into consideration here also. Oh, so sorry about that. You have to take into consideration about some of these Olympic players. Some of these Olympic guys that are all-stars that played overseas, back in 2024 Olympics. They're probably going to be looking for that break earlier. They may be hitting that wall, sooner than others. Now, not many.
They soft.
Well, hey, I think you may get some pushback in the league with that comment, but that's all you
pushback. And be like, I'm gonna say like this: anybody that wants to push back, be like JJ Redick saying that it was a bunch of plumbers and firemen or whatever the hell it was that he said.
Right.
Because I got some rebuttals to it, man. I got some rebuttals. I'm so upset about this whole. Oh, anyway, whatever. Let's move on to the next thing. These players.
Let's. I mean, hey, man, jump in that WhatsApp. Express that opinion. what have you enjoyed most about being a part of the BFBA community? We've talked so much about, the league in itself. What's been the most enjoyable thing to you?
Yeah, the most enjoyable thing has been being welcomed and just really participating in, even if I'm, a little bit of a voyeur in terms of the back and forth that's going on. Also, what I enjoy is how serious, I said this before, how serious everybody is about their teams. They want to win. And that feeds my enjoyment because I love competition. I love it. I love competition. And for me, the competitiveness is fueled and is exciting when I'm around people that are just as passionate and want it as bad as I do. And so that's, I can't ask for anything more than that.
That's awesome. Yeah, competition definitely drives this league. To a point that you made earlier, this past offseason, I offered an amendment to the league to up the dues. To kind of make it a big of a paid league, because I know that some of us are in other leagues that are big money leagues. And I felt for the camaraderie and the competition that we had here, let's get a payout, right? And pretty much everybody said no. They would rather have the patch, the trophy. Where is it? I'm blocking it. The trophy. The MVP patches or buttons or the T-shirts. They would rather have those things than the financial gain, which surprised me. So I think we're very serious. You try to take advantage of somebody and that solidifies you in a championship, and we all can see it. Somebody's going to speak up. Somebody's going to say something about it. We're going to get a review. I'm going to get a call at 3 a.m. being like, yo, they're trying to steal a championship or, anything. I got one more question for you, Steven. This has been an excellent interview, sir. Let's.
The light is a little odd here in my office, but
which is odd. I'm going to pull this question back because I'm going to throw something out here. This man is a lighting designer. Okay,
obviously,
we are working back and forth. We have a meeting after this conversation to talk about a show that is going to be at Orlando Shakes. So if you're watching this, come see Welcome to Matson at Orlando Shakes. We'll put information and details later. But Steven, come on. Do you see what we've done here? Look at the great quality of lighting that I've presented for you, sir. And this is what you give. But it's okay. We're sitting in a skybox in Kings Arena. Quality might not be that great,
Well, listen, we can. I mean, go ahead and talk your shit. That's fine. I know. I should have like a full studio setup in here, but I don't do video. What you gonna do? And it's also 10 a.m. here in California, but that's a different story.
That's fair.
But I do want to shout out before your last thing right there. You notice that I'm representing Sacktown, right?
Yeah, I see.
I bleed purple and white, or even in this case, right, we're going old school with the blue, red. But yes, as you can see, the original plan for this, for everybody to know, is the original plan for this interview was going to be, I was actually going to be at Golden One Center, and I was going to sit on the floor, legitimately. This ain't bullshit. I was legitimately going to do that. But unfortunately, I couldn't get in this morning for it. If this was a weekday interview, I could have gotten in there, and then I would have actually been sitting courtside or maybe even in the middle of the arena doing it.
I wish we would have moved this to a weekday.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Okay. But so I thought this would be the next best thing, light the beam, even though I will go on record as well as saying that, man, we just fired our coach. And that was probably one of the biggest mistakes that Sacramento has made in decades.
Yeah.
I'm pissed.
I don't understand that one.
I don't get it either. I do not get it. And, we're probably going to move Fox, or Fox is probably going to move on as well. I'm cranky about it. I mean, I want Fox gone, to be honest with you. I want him gone. But anyway, I just had to
who's the replacement? I mean, if we're moving Fox, you brought Sabonis in, so you gave yourself a dominant center, right? Now we can run a nice pick and roll. I mean, the guy's a walking double-double.
He's walking double-double, but here's the thing, right? So here's the problem with Sacramento right now.
Okay.
Sabonis, love him. He's probably my favorite player on the team. One of my favorite players on the team. I really love Keon Ellis, who just plays defense like crazy. He's coming out. He's coming out. Notice I picked him up, and he got me some buckets this last night. But Sabonis is a power forward. He's a power forward. He's not a rim protector. He's a power forward. And so there's talk of Fox moving on to San Antonio. There's been rumor of Miami if Jimmy Buckets, moves on, whatever like that, blah, 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 blah. We'll see what happens with that. But man, what I hope we get is one of two things. Either a legitimate point guard, old school point guard, who distributes first, scores second, which is not Fox. Or we get a legitimate big man. We need a rim protector. We need somebody who can actually who can play some defense as a legit center. So that way Sabonis can come down. Sabonis, double, automatic, always threatening a triple-double. But imagine if that dude actually played power forward.
Yeah, it would be dominant.
He'd kill it. He'd be killing it. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what he did in Indiana. I think Sabonis was in Indiana. Maybe okay, that's what I was thinking. I think he, that whole Miles Turner combo, he played out because he has the shot. Hey, maybe there'll be one in your future.
We'll see.
Start cultivating that team on too legit to quit, right? Then you could say, I did this. So Stephen, we're going into an expansion next year. We're a league of 14, as everyone knows if you've been watching this. We're 16 teams next year. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Stephen Jones, all right. What advice do you want to give, or could you give to new fantasy owners, those two that are joining that want to be competitive within this league?
Take your time. Take your time. To be cliche about it, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I think I'm proof of that, right? Being, I think, one of the more recent, I will say, owners. I'm not coming in the first week, the first year, thinking I'm just going to all of a sudden, make a big deal, make a big splash. Because to be honest with you, all the good players that are going to be those anchor players around a team, it's going to take you a minute to get them. So take your time, enjoy it. And as I alluded to earlier on, start scouting out, start to get to know who the owners are, what their patterns are, things of that nature. So that way in year 2, in year 3, in year 4, then you can make a statement.
That's some great advice, sir. I think we only know one owner, or I only know one owner that's probably going to be joining us next season. And I don't know if they're watching these conversations, but there's some real good insight that they could be taking. Because I think they're going to probably want to come in and make a splash.
Yeah.
I think you have an opportunity that you have a draft in July, and then we turn around and then we will do our draft. So there's still opportunity to make trades, get up, higher draft picks, and engage with other owners. So don't be afraid. I think it's a good piece of advice.
The one thing, I know we're probably coming up on time here, but the one thing that I want to throw out there, just deviating from that question for a minute, is when the league starts to talk more about rules for next year. I think it would be amazing if we started to talk about how we can include some of our draft money, or not our draft money, our
your acquisition budget.
Yeah, free agent money as part of what we use to leverage, trades. I also think it would be amazing if we've got the opportunity to trade future draft picks. I know that's something that I started to do with some of the owners even last summer. Hey, I want to trade for, my draft pick 2 years from now, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know, I could be wrong on this, but I don't know that there is an official structure for that on the app just yet. So I just want to throw that out there as 2 ideas for the league to start to consider, because that's how the world works, right? That's how the NBA works. Yeah. And I think that this actually ties back to the new owners. There's incentive now all of a sudden, right? For them to take their time and recognize that it's a marathon, not a sprint. If they go, oh, okay, yeah, this year I'm just going to be setting that foundation draft pick for, 2 years from now, maybe next year's draft pick, send a little bit of money, et cetera, et cetera. it will help out, I think, them to recognize the growth, but it'll also, in my opinion, help with those teams that want to win right now.
Yeah, I agree. You got my vote on both of those, and those will be in the offseason poll to see if if there are other owners that are interested. I'm very interested in a draft capital and having something that you can trade, because there are teams. I won't go into full detail of who they are, but there are some teams that could benefit from that amendment this season.
Yeah.
Or you could definitely move a little different. You and I exchanged a draft pick for the future year before those were available. So I think another owner, Trader Danny and NY Mindset of Fighters, they also did it as well. Adding in just a bit of verbiage, that with, hey, it's unprotected if it's in the first, 1 through 10. If it falls under that, it comes back to me. So basically having that understanding, and I think it's going to take the league a bit of time to kind of get it in, as it took you to kind of understand how this works, for them to understand it as well. But if it's voted in, I think they're great additions and, ways that we can further this league to make it feel that much more your own, right? Like now you are a franchise owner.
There you go.
As you kind of already are, in a sense. Steven, it's been a great interview, sir.
I appreciate you. Yeah, thank you. Before I know we got to leave, but I just got to say one thing real quick.
Yeah, please. This is your time, sir.
This is for everybody that's out there. Which one of you motherfuckers is coming in second?
All right.
And for those that know, that's how I always sign into the chat for the beginning of the draft and all that stuff. So I say that in jest. I really don't. Which one of y'all is coming in second?
Well, I think we know that it won't be you coming in second this year, sir.
No, it won't be me.
So I mean, hey, maybe it's first, maybe it's third. We never know.
Yeah, but it won't be second.
Won't be second. There you go. Steven, thank you, sir. I wanna say thank you to Sacktown and Golden One Arena, or Kings Arena. From me to you, sir, thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been a conversation with your commissioner.